100 years old.
First president to live over 100. I live to be 100. I think that's what they said.
Got it, Lee. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting of the Codington County Commissioners to order. If you please rise, I'll have Commissioner Gable lead us in a pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, number 2 is a call for public comment. We'll have a section later in the meeting if someone would like to do that in person or use the telephone number 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. And if you have a cell phone, could you please silence it? And if you need to take a call, we'd appreciate if you do it in the hallway. Item 3, is there any conflict of interest?
No.
Item. Number 4, we need a motion to approve the October 1st agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Gable,
Second.
second by Johnson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, we need a motion to approve the September 24th minutes.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Waterman. Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me. Okay, number 6, need action to approve the resolution 24-27 for the Codington County 5-year highway and bridge improvement plan. Line up, Rick.
Okay, this is the 5-year county highway and bridge plan that, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were up here and, had a meeting about, talking about what bridges and stuff that, are on the plan. We had 4 of them that were, accepted for hydraulics and engineering, so it's a start. But if anybody else wants to look at the plan, I don't know, you guys get it?
Well,
Or,
Todd will input the rest of it,
Yeah.
and then we'll get the updated plan after it gets sent into the state as
Okay.
well.
Move to approve the resolution.
Motion by Johnson, second by Gable. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 7. Action to authorize chair to sign the joint powers agreement with the South Dakota DOT for rumble strip pavement marking dash signing project.
So move.
Yeah. Motion by Johnson, second by Gable. Is there any further discussion? Rick, do you want to comment on?
this is, totally funded from the federal government for rumble strips. This is on County Road 6A, which goes to Medicine Lake. And then it turns into 442nd, which is County Road 23. And we'll have rumble strips on both sides of the road, all the way from 212 to State Highway 20.
And they do work.
Yeah.
They woke me up several times.
Yeah, and it's like I said, this is totally funded from the federal safety program, so county doesn't have to pay anything.
Does it, I'm just trying to understand, every year we get to apply for some more.
It just depends. If they have money, then they'll send something out that we can apply. And this, I brought this to you like in March or
Yeah.
April, something like that. And we just got it back now that we were approved, so. But every year is different. You never know what they're gonna have for funding. Some years they have it. And there'll also be rumble strips when you come up to State Highway 20 for the stop sign. Because there's nothing there now,
Are these gonna be on just the side of the roads or are there gonna be one down the middle too?
just on the side. Just on the side.
So it's a year to year
Yep,
thing,
every
kind
year
of.
is different,
So-
so.
We choose this or do we have to show a need because of accidents?
We chose this, at first it started off, it had to have a certain number of, cars per day. And now it's reduced, or excuse me, reduced down to, whoever applies for it, so. Yep, and like I said, we get, all the counties got a email like in March or April.
So eventually. Or hypothetically. We'll have it all on all county roads eventually.
It has to meet a certain criteria. That has to be so wide. And in decent shape, so. That's good thought in theory, but
It sounded like it was going down that road. Just
Yep.
wanted a little clarification, that's all.
Yep.
Thank you.
Actually, in the agreement, and I just got through reading it this morning, it does have a lot of things pointed out there.
yes.
And it talks about maintaining them.
Mhm.
How do you maintain them? I
Very carefully.
know, I was kind of wondering how that works.
I've talked to people at the state, and when it comes time to chip seal, you can chip seal right over them because they'll last several seasons or so many
Yep.
times that you can chip seal over them and then you can reapply and have them done again. So.
Yeah.
Because we chip seal every 5 years. Approximately.
Mhm.
So you'd get 10 years or more out of them.
Yeah,
So, or you'll have a pavement overlay or something. So,
That's a long time.
yep,
Yep.
it is.
Okay, any more questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Move down to our monthly reports. We're gonna go right to Todd. Jody's not here today. So. Morning, Todd.
Good morning, everybody. Start off with the numbers here. Currently 174 open claims, 87 pending action at the VA, 193 completed year to date. Hamlin, we got 16 open, 11 pending and 15 completed. We're currently working with 20 veterans outside the county, and we have completed 23 claims for veterans outside of our county this year. Right at about 400, and I think it was 398 claims as of today's date that we have processed or in the process of out of our office. Increase in the monthly stipends of $14,953 for the month of September. Year-to-date increase is $108,000 and some change. Retro payments for the month of September was $137,260. Year-to-date retro payments, $871,092. 3 veterans transported in September, 2 currently scheduled for October, currently having 7 drivers and 1 application submitted. And I think we're gonna have another one. He retired farmer stopped in the other day, hey, asked if we needed any volunteers. And I said, well, we're always looking for drivers. So hopefully we'll nab one there from that standpoint. Just a little thing shout out from the VA is that they set a record on 25 September of 24. They put this out to us in an email. They processed over 11,000 claims, 11,052 claims they processed on the 25th of September.
On
So-
one day.
One day. So you
Holy
just
cow.
imagine how many claims are going through the VA. So it's pretty wild when you look at it from that, at least in my mind. It's hard to fathom. They're on pace right now. They're at, overall, they're at 2.5 million for the year. They'll probably bust 3 million, I'm gonna guess. That's just a huge record increase from what they have in past. Again, some of that is a lot of production, but not all the production is positive because again, it's just seeing a lot of errors in the claims from that standpoint. So that you can't do it right the first time, but you have time to do it over again. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, Jay and I went to the Hamlin County Commission meeting on the 17th of September. A quick brief to them from that standpoint, standing room only at their meeting down there. It was packed. It got me off guard.
I don't know why.
Yep.
Is it a
Yep.
small room?
It was not a big room, but it's definitely interesting. It's a nice, friendly people down there, that's for sure.
There is.
Anyway, we just kind of gave them a once over there. I talked to Dixie, the auditor down there, about our stipend. She just said, hey, we just need to send them a bill. So I've worked with Brenda a little bit already, so we're gonna get that down there for our time for June 24 through December of 24, and then we'll revisit our contract again in December of 24, and then go forth from there. We also spent the 23rd of September down there because our office was being reshingled and it was rather noisy. It didn't take us long to want to get out of there when we started to hear people shingling and walking on the roofs. But we basically spent the whole day. They had one file cabinet. We just kind of went through the records that they had on file. Just kind of reviewed things. We had an idea of what we would be looking for and stuff like that. So we probably pulled, I don't know, 40, 50 records out there that we thought maybe needed some type of follow-up or at least a call to the veterans or a spouse or something like that. So we'll be working that within the next few weeks, along with getting some of the K awards that, like what we did here in Codington County. We'll try to catch that up down there from that standpoint. Again, I just kind of keep you in the loop about this Veterans Transportation Services, the VTS, that's supposed to be being run out of the VA clinic. Again, the gentleman is hired, but I don't know if it's going to be, I heard it was now going to be 1 November now. So someday they might have somebody there to help give and go out and bring veterans in from that standpoint is kind of what it's designed for. Out of the CBOC. It's a VA funded thing. So hopefully that can we've been hearing about it for a long time, so hopefully it'll take effect here soon. Future things going on. I got the Vets Council tonight. We'll be talking about the Salvation Army Veterans Emergency Fund that is kind of overseen by the other veterans organizations here in be it the American Legion, the VFW, the DAV, MOA, from that standpoint. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll also do select the Codington County Veteran of the Year from that standpoint tonight. That'll be given out at the Veterans Day program on the 11th of November. The VFW is handling that this year. It's at the Codington County Extension Center. Major Mike Nye will be the speaker. I'll be on the radio with the veterans on the 3rd of October. KWAT, that has now been moved to 8:30 instead of 7:30. And then KXLG roughly about 9:05, I think is about when we get on there. Something that's kind of new. We used to do kind of a veterans first responder type thing out at the National Guard Armory. We haven't done it for a couple of years as far as the Sea of Goodwill and the Watertown Area Community Foundation. But Joy Ranch has stepped up and they are going to have a veteran/military appreciation event at Joy Ranch, co-hosted by the Sea of Goodwill and the Watertown Area Community Foundation. That'll be Saturday, the November 9th from 10:30 to 1:30. At noon, there'll be a free lunch, and then some remarks from a few different people that might be out there. This is just kind of an event kicked off for the veterans to see what Joy Ranch has. They have some equine horses out there, opportunities maybe for veterans and their families. Along with, there'll be some informational booths. We're going to try to build off of this, just trying to get it back going again. So we're going to try to build from that as far as getting some more information and help educating our veterans, our service members, the dependents of them from that standpoint. Other than that, any questions?
No. Keep up the good work.
Yes, thank you, Todd.
You bet. Have a good day.
Yep. Okay, item 9, the action to approve resolution 2024-28 on the tax deed auction that we held September 24th here.
Right. And that lists both of the properties that were sold and the amounts that you sold them at. It's just to make it official.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Gable, second by Waterman to approve this resolution for the tax deed auction. Any other questions or?
What about that third chunk? Does that, say somebody is interested in buying it, could they, come up and buy it?
I would
That-
say it's been advertised, you know, so I'll look into that for sure, what that procedure would be. But yeah, so it has been advertised. And, you know, I don't know if you take sealed bids on it or, you know, what that process is,
It's
but I'll
what, a
find out.
2-foot strip.
Yeah,
It's just-
it goes by somebody's property. I don't know whose that was, but. So
Trying to avoid the tax.
anyway, yeah.
Hey, any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Item 11, presentation on financing overview by,
Oh, we have number 10.
oh,
Yes.
excuse me. There's another one.
It's okay.
Oh, it's looking ahead. Action to issue a quit claim deed to successful bidders on the September 24th auction.
moved.
Right. So you have two of them, one to David E. McElhaney and Charlotte M.
Everything together.
McElhaney. Yeah, and then one to the Jackson, Scott and Jessica.
My motion
Jackson.
would include both.
Motion by Johnson, second by Gable. To issue these quit claim deeds. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we can move down to number 11. Presentation on financing overview by Toby Morris. Morning.
Mr. Chair, Toby's getting ready. So we,
Yes.
as we were getting passing our resolution to put the bond for the detention center on the ballot, we had a little bit of a discussion about, how can we benefit from the bond proceeds? Maybe, I think it was Commissioner Waterman that mentioned that. So that's what Toby Collier's just here to talk about. He's helped us in the past with getting, it should have bonds have passed before with some of the issuance of bonds basically for in layman's terms. So you're kind of an expert, so take it away, please. Well, you're not kind of, you are.
Thanks. My biggest question, is that a Montana Grizzly deal? That's not a Montana Grizzly signia on your shirt, is it?
No, I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, 'cause I'm a Montana State Bobcat.
Oh, you are.
Pigeon just flew over. Charlie.
I think it's a symbol for North Face.
Oh,
All
all right, I just had to ask.
But no, I'm not a Montana, but I am aware of them.
So, well, thanks, Mr. Gable, for the introduction. It's interesting. I feel like I'm getting old because I think we started this process
Yeah.
10 years ago, back
At
in
least,
14.
yeah.
And so as we're getting closer, it sounds really exciting. I think.
Here we are.
Yep, it's very positive with the vibe in the community from what I've been understanding. And what I wanted to do today is talk to you about one underlying theme when it comes to issuing debt, and it's going to be timing and calendars. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Timing and calendars go hand in hand when it comes to issuing debt. And I think one of the best examples that we can go back to is Lawrence County. They're doing something very similar to what you did. They did it about 2 years ago. And we helped them and advised them through that process. And so my background is I'm an advisor with an underwriting firm. And there's a key difference on that because when you are an underwriter, they're the ones that go out and issue the debt. They sell it to a national market and then they deposit the funds in your account and say, hey, thank you. And they go do their other deal because they're volume based. The way I approach things is looking at it as a marathon, not a sprint. And when we work with our clients, and we're still working with Lawrence County 2 years later on that drawdown process, there's a lot of key components that go into not just issuing the debt, but the timing of the debt from when you want to do that levy to the construction schedule, then ultimately to the investment of the bond proceeds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass out a few graphs and talk to you just a little bit about what we're seeing in the market right now. The interest rates will follow the treasury rates. 2 years ago, Brenda was probably lucky to get 0.5% on your investments. And now today you're able to get probably 3 to maybe 4.5%, depending on what kind of investment tools that you're at. We have something goofy that's going to happen here in November, and that's going to be the election. How that turns out, I want to show you something else here, and you'll see every 4 years, there's an implication of when an election happens. The markets like consistency. They don't like turmoil. So it takes a couple weeks, couple months, I should say, to balance out depending on who the president is elected. That's where opportunities can come in. And when we look at when it comes to the issuance of debt, you're going to have an equity piece. I think you've said 6 to 8 million roughly in there. Okay. And then you're also going to have your debt component piece. And so what we look at is, okay, if interest rates are going down, when is it best to use your equity first? Because the rates are going to be locked in for 20 years. But if interest rates starting to tick up, is it best to issue the debt? And so now think it's the physics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, because we may want to lock in that debt component right away in, say, February, March. The reaction to that is going to be then is, when do you put that levy in? Because you're going to have a payment in 2026. And my whole intent today is not to throw a bunch of stuff at you, but to show you our methodology of how we approach it and all the different items. Because when you deal with 30 million, I'll tell you an example. When Harrisburg School issued 30 million in January of 23, we were able to invest that with the timing of the market. I don't want to be a timing guru, because I'm not, but it's just being able to lay it out. And we've generated about another 1.5 million for them just on that basis. Now, if I'm an underwriter, which we are, I can't technically invest that because we're regulated by securities. So I have to fall on one side or the other. And what I like to do is say, again, it's a marathon. I mean, we've worked together for multiple years, and would like to carry that through for the next couple years as we manage this, as we watch it. And so we look at that very carefully. And I want to show you something here. And this is an overview of our firm, but I want to show you something on this back page. If you look at that, what the back page is going to represent is, I should say, page 16. So here's what happens. The government does not want you to issue low interest debt and invest it at a higher interest rate. They regulate that. But and if you issue at 3%, and let's say we invested at 4%, if you don't follow rules, you then have to write a check back to that government for what's considered arbitrage rebate. So in this example right here, where we point out, this is what we did with the Harrisburg School. We issued roughly about 29 million. I was the advisor on this. Of that, we had a bond yield of 3.79, but over the past year and a half, we've averaged a 4.97% interest rate. The government will come in, the IRS in particular, and they'll say, well, look it, you have made 1.639 million on that investment, but guess what, Harrisburg, you didn't follow the rules. You now have to write a check for 332,000. And that's the last thing I think any of us want to do. But when you deal with a $30 million, 10 basis points, 15 basis points, 0.25%, all adds up. It's huge, which the ultimate goal is to generate more for your construction account and reduce your equity amount, so then that can still stay within your general fund, and then you can use it wherever you want. Any questions so far? I don't want to go through it too fast. I know Lee, we've talked.
Yeah, just for folks that might be watching this.
Yeah.
So we're talking about, using the bond proceeds to gain some
Correct.
interest, some benefits, so that can kind of both provide a cushion and also, like you say, preserve some of the equity, basically help with the budget of the project.
Absolutely.
Essentially, that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So, and then separate from that, as far as if we were to hire somebody like you to help us with that, then, it has to be a separate, the underwriter that actually issues the bonds has to be a
Correct.
separate firm, can't be you.
Correct.
Just to kind of, summarize a little bit of what you said, so.
Where the benefit comes in when I'm an underwriter and an advisor is an underwriter can buy treasuries basically at wholesale price. That's what we do. We buy and sell, I don't know, $1 billion worth of treasuries every year, just like most underwriters' desk. So when you have an outside underwriter coming in, we help and advise the investments. We can go out into that market and buy it and essentially pass it down to you on a wholesale basis. So, some banks to put your money in there, they might charge what you don't see behind the scenes. They're charging anywhere from 35 to 65 basis points, which is your money, but that offsets their cost to make their income. What we do is we look at again as the approach and said, we're here to help you manage on a couple fronts, not only the money and the investments, but to ensure we meet the IRS guidelines of that spend down. So you go back to that 332, we have a 6-month test, a 12-month, an 18-month, and a 24-month test. And you'll see right here on where I say goal met, or the dream is over. Last thing we ever want to do is get down to that 24-month and then oops, didn't make the spend down criteria. And that's something, again, that we provide with our services, not only from the front side of helping issuing the debt, managing the proceeds, constant communication with the architect or the construction manager to see where things are at. Why this is important, and my underlying theme starting out is calendar and timing, where we have to look at the beginning. If we issue debt, let's say in March, because of interest rates, are we going to meet the spend down test? Then we have to advise you and say, look, we're going to be restricted to this bond yield. It's better to lock in a lower interest rate now and forego some of those investment earnings, or is it better to lock in the rate at a future date? And it's a juggle, but you can see we're not dealing with $5,000 or $10,000. We're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars with investments up to 1.6 million. And so that's how we view it. I think with Lawrence County right now, with their 38 million that they issued, we're well over 2 million on the additional investments making for them. So that actually helped make their first year debt service payment, so they didn't have to implement a levy.
What is the whole difference? What is it now between the discount or the wholesale rate on treasury notes? What is it, a fraction of a percent, I'm sure.
Are you talking as far as a yield on a 6 and 3 month? It's inverted right now. The 9-month treasury is about a 370, a 6-month treasury is about a 340, and a 3-month treasury is about a 440, and a 3-month treasury is about a 450. And so natural inclination is say, well, we want to put it all in the 3, but guess what? We want price protection. We can't look at 3 months. We have to look at 9 months. Yep. And then what we do is we work with the construction manager, whatever form you choose, and we ask for that draw schedule. The first goal is never to leave you short of money. The second goal is to match it up with the draw schedule, and you're going to ebb and flow. You might have an extra million in your money market or something 1 month, so then we might buy a 3-month treasury to always keep you protected and flow it and watch it. And it literally generates hundreds of thousands of dollars when it comes down to that. So, do you want me to get into Baird? Or, I mean, how, I know we're throwing a lot at you right now, and it's not the intent, but it's start to think about the methodology that goes in, well, I'm going to say, when the vote passes. So
basically to hire somebody like you and at the end of our, we can, if the vote passes, we have the time to do that.
Correct. Then I can go out and I can solicit for underwriters. I can show you what's in the market. I mean, we watch it every day.
Yeah.
When you get to this level, I like to bring in a larger outside firm because they cover such a broader area. the more demand you have for your bonds, the less the interest rate goes. And so the only way you get more demand is have a much broader coverage from the East Coast, or the West Coast out here.
Similar for a local bank selling mortgages.
Good point. Yep.
So, yeah, should be here, so does everybody, so basically, just so folks understand again what we're talking about here is, you're getting some benefits, some investment benefit from the bond
Absolutely.
proceeds, and that helps out, like you said, like in case Lawrence County, that's, talking about enough to where they made
Absolutely.
their payments that first year, so. So where they didn't even have to implement that, increased levy, so.
We serve like the general contractor finance, everything from lining it up to the issuing of the debt to managing, and it's that way you have one face to deal with, and everything behind the scenes is managed by us.
And this 4-tiered plan that you have here for the Harrisburg School is kind of to avoid IRS
Correct.
insight or oversight or.
I have gone through an IRS audit with Yankton County and the city of Pierre. I think I'd rather slam my hand in a car door before I ever do that again, because you are guilty until proven innocent.
Yes.
But when you have all the spreadsheets to back it up to the format, so, that's a lot of scar tissue to go through those, and I hope I never, ever again, but if we are, boom, we're prepared.
And when they're constantly looking for more revenue, they're not in your favor.
No, they'd rather pick on a government than the true tax cheaters. That's their, anyhow, I'll be quiet.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Cody. Anything you think, you'd like to add, or just you want to mention, you were mentioning, are you talking about the potential underwriter that you typically work with?
Yeah, just to show you where this model has worked in the past. And by no means is this a commercial for them. I like, Zig Ziglar says past performance predicts future performance. And these are one of the larger underwriters that has South Dakota experience. We've used them anywhere. I serve as a senior advisor to the state of South Dakota on their debt issuance. So we've brought them in to get us national coverage there, to the Pierre School District, to the Harrisburg School, the Rapid City. So they know South Dakota paper. And we say it that way because we don't issue a lot of debt. Debt is a 4-letter word in this state. And so you don't see those larger firms coming in because there's no activity. And so by getting a firm like this used to South Dakota and the retail presence only helps you as the issuer to drive those rates down. And again, we can RFP out for it. A lot of times we judge by their cost when in fact we need to judge how they deliver on that interest rate. Just because somebody's 5,000 cheaper, you can be 200,000 more on interest within 1/10 of a basis point. And so that's where we really microscopically examine how it's being delivered in the marketplace.
Can you do a couple comments for Commissioner?
Absolutely. Is he live on stream with us? No.
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay. So, yeah, I appreciate the time. Would, love to go to work for you guys when this passes, and I think it'd be a great team. We've been a team for the past 10 years and see it to the finish line, and how we can get it there. And
Okay, let's, one question that I would have is just for clarification. Your costs would be covered by us through general funds? Or were you making enough money to cover your costs along with us on the issue of the bonds?
we would be a line item of a cost of issuance with the bond.
Yeah,
So standard agreements are, we just have a standard agreement, a base amount plus X, whatever that debt issuance is.
so you only get paid if we get paid from.
Absolutely.
bonds.
Yep. And then, as far as the investment of the treasuries, we essentially just sort of pass it on with our costs. There's a little markup, but it may be 5 or 8 basis points just to cover our trading desk and so forth.
Actually, in your gut feeling right now, I know. I do some. To the South Dakota retirement,
Mhm.
for the state of South Dakota, you know, the bond market, you know. Probably isn't as strong as we'd like to see it. But it's there, you know, I mean, a lot of the trading that we're doing is more stocks,
Mhm.
but for the long run, bond is
Correct.
probably the better way to go. I think that's all I had.
Just for the record, and for anybody that's might be viewing is, you're out of where now?
Here,
Okay.
yep, our corporate's based in Minneapolis, but I'm the West Coast branch.
The West Coast covers everything.
Here.
Here, yeah.
That's right.
So the Watertown Collier's office doesn't do what you do.
No, no,
Yeah.
they do retail and private investment.
Yeah.
We're the banking side of it.
If there's no further questions, appreciate you going through this and we'll see what transpires here in the next couple months.
Exciting.
Yes,
All right.
Thank you for coming, Todd.
yes, thank you.
Thanks,
Drive
Mayor.
safe.
Do you have another copy of the third one?
The reason I asked it was not necessarily when you see an area code before a telephone, does that mean where that area code is from?
True, true. No, I'm a South Dakota boy, true and true.
Yeah, I get, but because everybody, I deal with a lot of people that. Let's call them the number of the month club.
Exactly.
I run a pawn shop.
You run over. Oh, okay, yeah, I bet you see quite a few.
All right, thanks. a lot.
Thank you, Tony.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, number 12. Action to approve abatement,
No abatement.
no abatements.
We do have one claim. It is our September salary claims in the amount of $736,316.57.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Gable to approve this salary payment. Any more questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
I have nothing for 14, 15, or 16.
Oh, boy, moving right on.
Okay, number 17, public notice of a possible quorum. Tonight is that at the event center at 5:30, Lee.
Yeah,
You
good.
wanna-
Yeah, so it's talking about basically all the stuff that's on the ballot. So the chamber's putting together an event. The event center starts at 5:30 p.m. So I'm pretty sure it's on the Heritage Theater.
Yes, the Heritage Theater.
Yeah. And so to start off with, it's a discussion about the jail and our bond issue. And then followed by the Attorney General, Marty Jackley's in town to talk about walk the voters through the ballot issue, all the state level ballot issues. So we have our bond election is basically a county level ballot issue. So, and then going through the state ballot issues, and then we've set up a candidate forum for the different races. So kind of a long evening, but a very interesting evening, I think, for voters.
Who are the candidate forum, who will be on that?
There'll be county commissioner, then there's the state races for District 5,
Yeah, Senate.
Senate and legislative.
Yeah, so, and then House, yeah.
Yeah.
So. I think that's it. I think those are the three. It'll,
That's what I,
each one of those candidates, they set aside at least half an hour for each of those, so it'll.
how about District 3?
District
You
3,
know, rural.
4, you're District 4. District 4 House, no, it was just District 5.
I think that might, I think it's just 5, yeah.
Yeah, District 5 is the 2.
Yeah. So just, they might do a separate, there's a race before, I think there is.
There is none, they're on the ballot, but because they have to get one vote or whatever,
Oh, okay.
whatever, but yeah, it's not really.
Is there any other things in the next?
You know, just a minute, I thought somebody's talking about that, I forgot to look. We're in October, right?
Yep,
Mhm. I will mention there are 5 Tuesdays, so we won't meet that last Tuesday, the 29th, which will help me immensely with election that week, so. And then the other thing, I will mention it now, but when we get closer, if we can move our Tuesday meeting, November 5th, which is election day, to the 7th, and then we will canvass the ballots that day as well, or canvass that election. Have it on Thursday instead of election day, please.
Yes, when we get close, we will. move
We'll
that.
mention that again, but
Yes.
just kind of throwing that out there, just give you a heads up.
Should be good to go.
Okay. Number 18, is there any old business? 19, any new business?
Yeah, there was one thing and it's not on the agenda. I mentioned it earlier. With combine fires and stuff we've been having around. I want people to be aware of, and I'm sure they are, but just a little extra aware of. We didn't put a burn ban on. But just be aware.
Is that a motion?
Yes, in fact, I might make I know, well, yeah, I'd make a motion, we put the burn ban on.
I'll second it.
I don't think we can, it has to be an agenda item.
I thought that was an ongoing thing.
No, it has to be on the agenda. If
Yeah.
you want me to put it on
Yeah.
for next week, I can.
Definitely.
Or you could declare an emergency and say,
You know what? That's what I agree with you, Lee. I'd like to declare an emergency and get this taken care of.
It's dry out there, that's for sure.
Okay, there's a motion by Waterman. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Johnson. Any more discussion?
so you were just saying that thank you, Mr. Chair, so you were just saying that you've seen some instances of fire.
Yeah, and I hear the fire trucks going off all the time. Randy mentioned there were several combine fires. Myron mentioned some things, and that's why I'm declaring it an emergency.
It just, my comments are simply, it is just terribly dry out there. And then when you add the wind to it, that just acts as a catalyst to really make it bad. And if it gets started, those bean fields and cornfields, they will burn. And they'll burn quick.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, is there any other new business? Okay, now is the time for public comment. Not seeing any in person or any on call. Is there any commissioner comments?
Yes, I do have one that goes to the fire thing. We're gonna have road hunters out pretty soon. They'd like to dump some trash out. Be aware of that fire situation.
Yes, okay, we do have a need for executive session on number 3. And
I think number 2 as well, isn't it?
yeah, there will be. Yeah. 2 and 3.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Motion by Gable, second by Waterman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into executive session.
Well, that field would be good on